Thanks so much for your interest in the project. It is very much a work in progress, but it's meant to be an iOS app to create a control interface for an Adafruit PyPortal. You log in using your Google credentials. You first create a home screen. You get 3 font choices. You can change the color. There'll eventually be a color picker. You can change the justification. You can add more lines of text. You can move them around. And if you click on the camera button, you can also load background images. I'm storing all the data in Google Cloud Firestore, but I'll eventually do the conversion to BMPs using Adafruit's I/O. Now once you've got a home screen, you can add more buttons to that screen, and those will go to other screens as well. So here I'm adding a course screen, and you can see in the lower right hand corner there's a return button. That's exactly what the user is going to see on the PyPortal. You can go ahead and add more buttons, and all of those will be connected to the home screen. So here's another button with contact information, and this will be accessible from a second button that I've added, and I've made contact. That's going to be right off of the home screen. These screens aren't very creative, but you can also continue to add buttons to different layers and go deeper and deeper within your navigation. Now I'm going to add a third button in here, and I'm going to call it News, and I'm going to add one news item here, but I'm also going to add a second one. Now you'll notice that I can click on the plus button that's just to the right of this News button, and what that will do is it will add another screen, so I have 2 screens that are associated with News, and I can move between those 2 using these left and right arrows that you see on the screen. That's the same interface that users will see when they're looking at the PyPortal. So I'm not going to add any text here. I'll just go ahead and add an image that represents a flyer. And then when I return, take a look at how the icons look. They actually show that there are left and right arrows here, and that's to indicate that this page is part of a group of pages that the user can travel through by clicking on the left and right arrows after they first get there from one of these buttons. I'll eventually modify the app so you can click these buttons and travel around and try out what the interface will be like on the portal. Now the last bit to see is if we go back to the home button. Remember we added these 3 different buttons: courses, contact, and news. These are the 3 buttons that we've got right here, so those are created automatically for us, and they'll eventually be an opportunity for you to set custom colors for the background if you'd like. There's a lot more that we can do here, and I look forward to expanding the app in the future, but it gives you a sense of the possibilities. So this will give you a sense of what things are like when you read JSON data off of Google Cloud Firestore. I've done a demonstration of this. You can see the other video that I've posted to the Adafruit forums and on my Twitter account, where if things are saved as graphical images, the navigation isn't that bad. Unfortunately, what I've done here is I've treated each of these as a different text block, and you'll notice that the loading actually occurs very, very slowly. So I don't know if anybody has any ideas in terms of how to speed things up, but I'd really welcome that. Now, we're a little bit slow in the beginning as well because I've accessed the JSON just before this, but what we're seeing right now is pretty much just straight slow speed rendering. So we're definitely getting data over the web, and we're definitely able to render them on the PyPortal, but it's also definitely not as fast as I'd like. Now you can see I've got a lot of work to do too in terms of making the fonts line up properly. I need to make things look more consistent between the PyPortal and the iOS app, and I haven't gone through and refactored any of the code, and I am not a Python programmer, so the Python code that I put up is super, super raw. I'm looking forward to some folks diving in and maybe giving me suggestions or even for me learning from what some others want to do. But I'll certainly open source all of this stuff. You can take some time, and thanks to everybody in the Adafruit team for putting together such great products, and hopefully this will be useful to some folks.